All right, welcome back to the Teacher's Tech Bar. In this video, we continue our series on working with Google Sheets, and we're going to focus on functions so that we can get the computer to start doing the math for us. One thing I didn't do correctly on the last one, which I'm just recognizing now, is that I like to have the top line as the key. What I'm doing here is I'm clicking, holding, highlight that whole section, and I'm going to press Command X, and that's actually going to cut this, Command V, paste it, and then I'm going to add in key, and I'm also going to bold that up so it's nice and clear. And you know what? I want to have that whole section bolded so I don't get the key values confused with my students. So I'm going to bold that whole section. Perfect. As I go through, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, this homework was worth 1, the check-in quiz was worth 5, and the first assessment was worth 100 points. Okay, again, I don't like when these are not center aligned, so I'm going to center align those. All right. Now, I don't want for every student to have to go through and add all these things up. I'm going to be lazy in that sense. You know, I do teach math, but I still don't like to just add long series of things and do division for all my students. That's a waste of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm first going to say, I want the computer to add up all of these numbers. So even as I add more things in, I want it to add in those numbers. Anytime you put in equals, that's going to allow you to start making calculations. So you type that equals sign, and typically just start typing what you want to do. So in this case, I want to take the sum of some numbers. So I start typing sum, and look, it gives me an option for a function built into Google Sheets, sum. And then it's going to give me some tips. Essentially, what I want to do is tell the computer what numbers do you want the computer to add. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this one, and I'm just going to drag over for a while here. And I probably won't have more assignments than that. So I'm going to then press Shift 0 so I close the parentheses. And essentially the way you read this is say, take the sum of these cells from D2 all the way to AC2. So again, AC is representing the column, 2 is representing the row, and that cell AC2 is right here. So all of these cells highlighted in orange will be added together as I add more values. And so you can see it's 115. So I not only want to make sure that it adds this one, but I want to make sure that when I put in these scores, 5 and let's say 92, that I don't have to go back here and type in that same formula. If I click on this cell and there are things to the left of it, and I hover over that blue circle right here, so I get that cross, and then double click, it's going to fill in all the way down. Now, you see it filled in too far, actually. So what I might do, and this would be a good opportunity, I'm going to say Command Z to go back, and I'm going to click on this class mean, and I'll show you how to insert a cell. So what would be helpful, because that's going to continue to happen, right? If I do formula over here and click it down, it's just going to continue to happen. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to go to class mean, click there, insert, and I'm going to say row above. Okay, and I don't want that to be a color, so I'm going to click 13, reset, and now you can see that there's a little gap between those. So now when I go to click 115 and double click on that blue square, did I say blue circle before? Blue square, double click on the blue square, and you can see all these filled in. Now, of course, they say 0 because I haven't added in scores yet. So as I begin to add things in on a daily basis for these respective assignments, the points category is automatically going to calculate. The grade one, we actually have to type in a calculation. So the grade is going to be equal to, it's ever in this cell, because it's not going to be 115 for everyone. Potentially it is if your student gets perfect scores on everything. Divided by, now this is where we have to be a little bit careful, is that when we calculate, and I'm going to, the value here, we're going to do 106 divided by 115. So what we have to do is we have to put in $, the cell that we want to divide by, which is going to be B2, and I have to put a $sign in between the two. Whatever's in the points category, divide it by the total points, or the key. That's why I added the key in here. All right, and then I'm going to multiply that by 100, so we get a percentage. So you can see the key should be 100, right? Because that's the max number of points you can get, and we're dividing it by that. But if you see, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to hover over there, double click the blue square, and drop down. So you can see that it's calculated the 92 average that Lane has gotten. And you can see up here that it's going to automatically reference the cell to the left, but it's going to go back up and reference that B2, which is 115. And the reason why you don't just want to type in 115 is because as I add other numbers, so I say, quadratic homework, and I put in a 10, it's going to all adjust. Okay? So that's why it's better to reference cells that have numbers that are changing. So this 125 is a cell that's going to be changing. It's better to reference that as opposed to continually updating it, because, as I go down and start putting in these scores, 9, 8, 9, 7, 9, whatever, you can see all of these are updating. Now let's do another one here. Let's put in the class mean. So equals, and I don't know how this popped up, but I've never seen this before. It suggests that I take the average of those numbers. Now it's not actually the right range, so I'll press enter, but I don't want it to go to B13. I want it to go to B12. B12. So right now my current class average or mean is a 21, and that's because all these folks have zeros because I haven't entered the grades in. Okay. Class median, what do you think I'm going to do? Equals median. Click that and then highlight the cells you want to take the median of. Perfect. Okay. And I'll do the same thing, equals. And again, it gives me the option because of probably what I named it to the left. But again, it goes down to 13, but I don't want that. I want to go to 12. Perfect. Now, again, if I want to do this for every assignment, I don't have to retype these things in. Again, hover over the blue square, and I'm just going to drag it over. And don't be worried about these things. Basically what that means is you don't have any numbers up here. So if you see it automatically references, we want to take the average of the cells from here to here, and that's what we can see, D2 to D12. Okay? So now every time we put something in, we're automatically going to see these things calculate. So what I want you to try to do on your own now is in this cell right here, what I want you to do, and I'll put in some numbers. And I'm also going to put in a key value here. So key, when I do the key, I'm going to say this page was, 10, each of these pages was 10 points. So we're going to give you a little homework assignment here. All right. So what I want in this column is I want you to add up all the points that each student got off. Pause the video, come back in a second, and add all the points up that students got off. All right, so hopefully you paused it, took advantage of that opportunity. And what we're going to do, again, this is fantastic. It's just going to pop up things that it kind of knows I want to do. It just said, do you want to sum up those numbers? Yes, I do want to sum up those numbers. And I'm going to click and drag this all the way down. I'm going to put this 60 in bold because that's the key. So now what I want you to do is pause. And here's one that's going to be hard. It's going to utilize some of the tricks you learned over here. So what you're going to do is you're going to say, all right, the score is going to be equal to this 60 minus whatever the value is in this cell. Okay? So pause the video, try to give that a go, and see if you get the same thing that I do. You're back. Let's check it out. So equals. I'm going to click on that one, but again, I want to continually reference that. So I'm going to put the $ before the H, the $ before the 30. We've referenced that, but then we have to minus what's in this cell right here. Boom. They got 4 points off, so they got a 56. And then we're going to double click to bring it all the way down. And you can see the key has to be 0. You know you did it right because they didn't lose any points. Or they lost all the points, essentially. All right, so the percent, now we have to do a little bit of a calculation. We're going to do equals, use our parentheses, and we're going to do this cell, 56, divided by 60. And again, we're going to lock that one in, so it's continually dividing by the total. $, close the parentheses, multiply it by 100, and you are good to go. And again, double click all the way down. All right, so that was a lot in that video. We went through a lot of some more formatting things, but also we looked at how to reference cells, how to use the functions, use a variety of different functions. And, again, I keep stressing this, keep at it, keep trying it, make a ton of mistakes and just stay at it because you'll see it's pretty valuable. not necessarily for a grade book per se, but if you're a science teacher and you're distributing data, you want to make it look good, you want to do some calculations, you want to teach your students about it, or even a math teacher working with data in class, this is a great option. All right, so thanks for checking in. We got one more video. We're going to talk about making some visualizations. And if you have any requests, please put them in the comments below. Like and subscribe. All right, look forward to seeing you in the next one.